Hello. It's been a while, but we are back
Yep,
in Animorphs.
with someone new this time.
Yeah, because we had our usual guest,
He's busy with real life stuff.
yeah, with family stuff now, so he couldn't make it.
Yeah, so say hello, Hitoshi.
Hi, I'm Hitoshi. I'm an Animorphs nerd. I love everything about it, and I've been pressuring my twin to read it for about 2 years.
Sweet.
Yeah, so tonight we're going to be discussing the David Trilogy and the Hork Bajir Chronicles.
So, which one were we gonna do first? Because
Number 20, The Discoverer, is the first chronologically for the David Trilogy.
all right, so we'll discuss David first before we get to Hork Bajir. Yeah, dude, I remember you kind of hyping it up, and it seemed like the David trilogy was actually far away, but then we caught up to it.
Yep.
Oh yeah. All right. So how are we gonna do this Q&A?
No Q&A, we're just going to review it.
Yeah,
Okay.
just talk about the book.
All right. So I mean, when David first came on the scene, I thought it would be cool. Obviously, as you read, you think about what would happen if there's another Animorph, and I think they really played that scene really well. Like they didn't trust him at first, and I like the guards that they put up. It seemed really realistic. They were just trying to take back the Escafil device, right?
Yeah, the blue box that was used to give them the abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I really liked how real it was. It was really funny, the whole showdown that went down in David's house. So I don't know.
Yeah, that house just got completely wrecked.
Destroyed.
Oh,
So
what was the name of David's?
Tarantula or his snake?
It was his cobra. He had like a black cobra.
Megadeth and Spawn.
Yeah.
Yes. Little demon.
Spawn is such a perfect name for a snake.
Gosh, yes. But yeah, like let me see. I remember so of course they were trying to I really like how they got Visor 3 involved. Like the fact that David was online and he was trying to what was he trying to do with the device? Sell it to somebody, I think?
Yeah, he was putting it online to thinking he could make money off of it, and of course, there would be like controllers that working for the Yerks that would probably see it and they're like, hey, this is kind of suspicious. That's obvious. Like that's obviously Andalite technology. So we need to get a hold of it.
Visser 3. It's pronounced Visser.
Oh yeah, sorry. I have a pronunciation thing. I don't know. It just my tongue just does what it does. So when I'm reading, I just do what's just most comfortable for me. So yes,
Oh,
technically.
no worries.
Yeah, but I say Visor. I don't know. It kind of sounds hot.
So that's basically the plot of this book: is that David discovers the morphing cube. The Animorphs get it back. They fight the Yerks over it. Oh, and there's that conference between all the various heads of states that the Yerks
they're meeting at that resort.
Marriott.
And they also had to find a way to get into it, to stop like some of the officials from being made into controllers.
Right. Oh, it was going down in this book. I forgot about that. Yeah. But well, okay. So let me see. Yeah. So I mean, when David lost his family, I feel like he reacted like how any normal kid would react. He wasn't just like, okay, let me just be an animal, whoop de doo, I'm happy, but he was like, F, I just lost my entire life. Like he seemed like he was a well-off kid. He wasn't like Tobias with people who didn't love him. So I think that, unpopular opinion, his reactions in the beginning were kind of valid. He did have pent up rage from losing his family to a war he wasn't even trying to be in.
And the plot hole is that why don't they just send him to the key? They have a nice house.
Exactly.
They have a nice house. They have a great underground lair. He could have comfortable place to live and a place to have normal food. It's perfect.
That's true, but the thing is, he's not looking for a comfortable way to live. It's like when you're in that mindset, because you got to think about it from his shoes. And I think Rachel, since she played a really big part of it, she's like one that could really, really understand. But in his shoes, it's like it's not just, oh man, my house is trashed. It's my entire life, which is ripped away from me, and you're saying that I have to be
His parents
friends.
are now controllers.
Yeah, basically dead to him because he knows he'll never be able to get them back. And now the Animorphs, who are literally 50% responsible for his parents being gone, are now trying to recruit him. It feels like, man, I don't want to hear any of that. I want to get back at you guys for doing this and dragging me into it, and get back at Visser, obviously for dragging him into it. So I feel like they low key had to really like deal with him because he knew all the secrets and he had so much rage and he wasn't ready to listen to reason because he's also going through so much grief.
Yeah, but the Animorphs also, for their part, didn't go the extra mile to make him comfortable. And they also kind of broke their own rules. Like, they're not going to let him steal a hotel place, but they do break their biggest rule by acquiring those guards at the Marriott Resort to deal with the Yeerks.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, that's true. But they also had to do that. It's like, I don't know. I feel like that's where like Cassie, kind of comes in because yes, like she's the morality of the group, but at the same time, when you're in war, morality is low key like nuance. You want to hold on to morality, but sometimes, unfortunately, in times of war, you're gonna have to let that go. At least parts of it, parts that you could sacrifice for the greater good, which is either we hold on to the rules and not turn into these guys, or we just go ahead and save like billions of people from being under their control because they weren't just trying to get one not head of state, like one leader or
All
like one,
Get all
exactly.
of them, yeah.
Get all of them. Yeah, so it would have been world domination if they would have just been playing chess and got checkmate. The Yeerks, I mean, would have checkmated everybody because they wouldn't
Yeah.
want to leave.
I did read an interesting theory that says the reason they don't tell David about the key, which would at least stop him from breaking into places, which is what caused Jake to actually push David over the line, is specifically because they didn't trust him enough to actually tell him about it. Which I could accept. I just don't know if it's in the text. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What did you guys think of? I'm trying to remember the way Marco's attitude,
This is
towards David.
Yeah, I feel like Marco had intuition because he could kind of when you're in that situation when you're like Marco grew up fairly normal life, and then his mom is a Yeerk, and he didn't know it for a long time, and then obviously before that book, he realized that she was a Yeerk. I feel like that kind of thing changes you. You don't just see other kids as just normal kids, especially when they're almost going into the same situation you're in. Marco, I think he realizes that this is an anger that's just gonna be, extinguished by simple means. And so he low-key kept his distance. Because why would you want to be friends with somebody that you know is gonna be your enemy in a split second? Like how can you then try to welcome that person with open arms? Marco isn't Cassie. Cassie can do that and keep herself at a distance to really see the true nature of a person. But Marco isn't like that. He's kind of like a straightforward guy in some ways, but he's also like, really tactful and really smart in other ways. So he's sorry, I'm eating cookies.
Oh, no worries. I got a Kit Kat with me too and my tea.
So yeah, I feel like from Marco's perspective, he was looking at it like how the Batman observes Joker. Like, you know, that guy doesn't have all his screws in his head. A couple of them are loose, and it's only a matter of time before he like snaps. You know, so you don't just go in and make him feel like everything's okay. You kind of keep him at a distance because when is it going to be the time to snap? I feel like Marco wanted to be ready for that moment.
You know, I kind of part of me kind of wishes we would have gotten the Cassie perspective in one of the trilogy books.
Yeah, she
You know
was.
what I mean?
They all had to vote to decide whether David would be allowed to join the team. She voted yes.
Yeah, true, but like, because you know how like every book like alternates from like the first person perspective of a certain character. I kind of wish we could have gotten Cassie's perspective in all of that from that sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, no, I really do get you. I feel like we could kind of also use context clues. Like, she tried to make him feel comfortable, but she did keep a really close eye on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm vaguely remember. I don't know if it was her that pointed out that he was like killing a bird in the air or something like that. But she kept a really close eye on him while also trying to make him feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, David basically claimed the instincts let him go, but I think it's what you're talking about, this rage. So, what do you guys think of the final solution on how they dealt with David? For those who don't know, they deal with the world leaders by trying to warn them, but then they trash the resort, and then to deal with so there won't be a conference held. And then for David, they trap him in rat morph. What do you guys think of the final solution?
I was actually that was one of my guesses what would happen, like that he would be trapped in morph. Like when we were reading it, I was like, I was just kind of getting an intuition that probably would have happened.
Yeah, I like that solution. I feel like the only thing I have a problem with that is that they put him on an island. I feel like they should have trapped him in rat morph and then kept him as a pet, because a rat can't really escape. Like, I've owned 3 rats before, and they literally can't escape if you have them in like a glass tank. Obviously you put their little rat luxuries in there, but I feel like it would have been a way better situation that would have prevented a lot of crazy things from happening with Kryak if they kept them. But they had him like out of sight, out of mind, which is really dangerous.
Yeah,
Like,
but they also the rock was also described as a barren, disgusting place that very few people would visit. You know,
that's true. That's true, but I think that like it lulled them in a false sense of comfortability. But they also didn't know. Like, they also, like, they weren't staying there. And rats can swim. We had the plague. Like, um, I feel like, and of course this is hindsight. Being in that situation, I'm sure we were looking through their eyes. It would have been the best decision. But now, hindsight wise, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, they should have just kept him as a pet. He would have died as a rat. It would have been a normal rat death situation. Like, they probably would have just kept him. They could have kept him as a pet, had him live on his life as a rat, gave him his little rat luxuries, and then boom, he dies at how many years a rat dies. Like, I feel like that would have been the better option, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I actually that's the one thing I didn't predict. I didn't know they would just jump him on the island.
Yeah.
okay.
And so when they dumped him on the island, I thought, oh my gosh, and there's more rats here. What if he gets like a rat army?
Yeah, How about how they deal with the world leaders? Again, I love that they try to warn them at first. It's clever. Of course, one of these leaders was already a controller. We don't know which one. But then because Visit 3 traps them and they barely get away, they just have to trash the resort, which is perfect.
Yeah, didn't they go in as rhinoceroses?
Rhinos and elephants.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy, but I think, man, it's like that's the best they could have done because they're kids. They're warning the world leaders can only go so far, and they don't know who's who. So
There's also
So
the fact that
the only option is to go in all guns blazing.
there's also the fact that their first plan failed. The first plan failed, and they were kind of tired because they didn't get a lot of sleep because David, when he went rogue, he disrupted their sleep, and they had to go to school the next day. And they're just like they're not really thinking as well as they could be. Oh yeah, one final thing to say. I've seen a lot of fan speculation about what happened to Sadler. That's Jake's cousin that was hit by a truck and he's dying. David wants to impersonate him. And what did he do with the original Sadler once he went into critical condition? I've seen people supply the theory that he dumped his body down the elevator shaft in the hospital.
damn, he probably did. I wouldn't put it past him. David is ruthless.
Yeah, that was pretty dark.
I mean, honestly, I feel like okay, this may be my my Jesus freak coming out, but I think that it's so interesting. You know how they all have main battle morphs. I think that is interesting that David chose a lion because I mean his name is David, like David from the Bible, and the other symbolism is that David is the line that Jesus comes from, and so it's literally like the Lion of Judah, which is the tribe that Jesus is coming from. So I just really cool. It's like an anti-symbolism thing going on.
Yeah, I can see
or
that.
How like the enemy prowls about like a roaring lion, looking to see who he can devour, like the Bible says.
Yeah.
I think that's cool symbolism, especially since they mention the Bible a few times in Animorphs and how Jake and Rachel are supposed to be Jewish, from what we hear.
Oh, Jewish? Really?
Really?
That's what they mentioned in Megamorphs 3.
Dang, I gotta reread that. I thought they were just like a little Christian. Like I know Axe was saying that when he was with, or was it the Chief? One of them were saying that when I don't know if it was Axe and Morph, like Jake Morph, it was so funny. I don't know if it was Axe and Morph, but he was saying that one of them actually prays and the other family doesn't pray before they eat. So I never heard they were Jewish, just from what I remember. But that's really cool if they were.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, any final thoughts on the David trilogy for either of you?
I feel like David trilogy really brought out the worst in Rachel and the best in Rachel. Like she realized that there is a lot of ruthlessness inside of her too, and it's not something she could just ignore anymore. Because in her normal life, before she was an Animorph, she obviously had to push that part of her down. Just being the pretty girl and not wanting to be the pretty girl. But I think that's the reason why, because she also has that other side to her. And then in this trilogy, it brought it out in many ways, and it also kind of gave her that deep-seated resentment against Jake because, like how she said, he knows how to use all of them, and with her, like Jake knows how to use her, like
Yeah, because there was a reason why he chose her to go after David.
Exactly. I feel like it was foreshadowing for the last books, but I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yeah, we'll see when we get there.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts for you, Iron.
I remember you hyping up the David trilogy, and aside from like the whole Chi thing, it was well worth the hype from you. See anyone else have any other final words on it?
No, I think I'm good with the David trilogy.
Okay, I do like it. It's not flawless. Like, I'll say one final thing is that, for example, when it looked like Tobias is killed by David, and then he flies to rescue Rachel from David, and David still thinks he's dead, even though there's the fact that it's early morning, so there's light out, and David should have seen that it's a red tail and should have realized that Tobias is alive. You know what I mean? It's just, if it had been darker, I would have seen it. And if the animals didn't have their singular focus on just one morph apiece that they focus on, like their battle morphs and their flying morphs, I could have seen David writing that off as someone else, but no. So it's not flawless, but I'd still rate it as definitely one of the greats of the series.
Oh, great! The phone's ringing.
Okay. No, I do get that, and it's also I just also wanted to comment on that. You know, red-tailed hawks, they kind of you can kind of confuse it with another bird because the tail isn't just like a blood red. It's like a kind of like a rusty, sandy. I feel like if you're not really into animals, you could overlook it. That's a possibility, and maybe that's what Applegate was going for. But again, I'm not trying to just like.
My point was there's plot holes, but there's plot holes in every book. It doesn't affect my enjoyment. It's just I am gonna say that's not flawless. It was my sole point.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, it's no flawless.
So
The Hork Bajir Chronicles.
Yes.
I absolutely loved this one.
Yep, I liked it too.
Because I actually absolutely love the Hork Bajir a ton.
Me too. I think the race is so cute and like they're so peaceful. I love the fact that they're just like peaceful, tree eating, whatever they are. Like it's
It's
so
like, oh,
cute.
you might look at them like, oh yeah, look at those spikes. Those are obviously for fighting. It's like, nah, they're for peel and bark.
Yeah.
And I actually have a song whenever the Hork Bajir come up. It's like, march, 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 marching Hork Bajir.
What?
What I like about this book is that during the war to take the Hork Bajir, we focus on three perspectives: the future Visser 3, Espla 9466, the Prime, and Aldrea Iskelian Fallon, the daughter of Prince Cyril, who gave the Yeerks their technology, and also Dak Hammy, the Hork Bajir Seer. I really like that we got three perspectives to see this whole war unfolding.
Oh yeah, same. Me too.
Yeah, there's also just a huge charming to their simplicity.
Yeah, and honestly, well, on another note, just a really small side note, I kind of like their naming system. Like, not really a system, but I kind of like how Doc Homie has like a really Hork Bajir name, but I don't know, like it just feels like his son, right? Jada Homie, that's his son, right?
Yeah,
It's his. I think it's his grandson because Jerahami calls him his father. Jerahami's his grandson.
Yeah, grandson.
Yeah, that's right.
I like that. If you were to like, humanize Jada Hami's name, it would be Jeremy. I don't know. I just always found that funny.
Yeah.
That is kind of.
I always thought the same thing.
Yeah. What I like about this book is that it seemed like Hay Applegate was going with something a lot more complex for Visser 3 than we've seen, because he's smart and he's humble. As humble as he can be when he relishes in taking slaves. You know what I mean? And and we see a lot of the Yeerks that were dragged along on their campaign of conquest don't like taking hosts. They find the experience very frightening. And they prefer the warm intimacy of the Yeerk pool, which Visser 3 just loves his senses, and he wants to get more and better senses. He's like an addict that way.
Yeah, I feel like it was the birth of I want to say a psychopath mixed with a sociopath. Like, I feel like he felt like he just had this sense of pride. That's what it is. It's a sense of pride in him. because where everyone else were like kind of content with being who they are as yurts, not everyone else, but some. He kind of saw like the higher up who had the bodies of the I don't know if you guys pronounce them Geds or Jeds, but those things. So
I
he
usually
had
go with Gads.
okay. My sister reads it now and she's saying I'm pronouncing everything wrong, and I'm like, well, I don't care. So I say Jeds, but okay, I'll say Geds for the sake of this conversation. I feel like it was a lot of envy going on. Like, he was like, man, like he wanted to respect it and he wanted that power and he wanted those senses because he didn't want to be just like a small little slug that anybody could just crush. And I feel like she really built that really well. Like
there's a lot of similarities between all three of them. They feel like outcasts. They want something more than they've been saddled with, and they're willing to make goals to achieve that. Aldrea wants to be a warrior, wants to fight the Yeerks and turn another good name to the family line of Cyril. And Dak Hammy, when Aldrea gets to him, he has a simple Hork Bajir's perspective, but she begins teaching him about science and technology, and he really wants that. Just like Esplin, just like they're all similar.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like also the underlining tone of war versus peace, because all the while Doc Harmony was kind of making Aldrea realize that she's not.
Oh no!
Oh no!
She lost connection.
Extend the link again. Wow, this is.
Oh, she's back.
Okay, hi. Sorry, it kicked me out.
Yeah. Okay, so you were saying?
Oh yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, war and peace. Oh yeah, the fact that Doc Harmony was basically telling Aldrea that her race, the Andalites, aren't really so different from the Yurts, because they both, have their own agendas, and they're both just basically trying to get their way, and they're doing it by means of war. I really like how he broke it down that the Hork Bajir are really so peaceful that they don't even know like what death is really like.
Well, they know what death is. They've seen death, but they're just aren't capable of knowing the concept of violence.
Yeah, that's the right word.
Exactly. Yes. Like they literally stumbled upon it when like they accidentally slash one another, literally by accident, or maybe one slips and falls. A really old Hork Bajir, stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that's so like mind blowing. It kind of makes you look at your reality, and it's like, man, what are we doing all these wars for? I don't know. I kind of like what
but the Hork Bajir are like this genetically engineered species, so that's part of it, is that they have that aggression stamped out of them. And that's another thing is about the Hork Bajir Chronicles. I love the alien world building. Like, the planet was hit with a meteor thousands of years ago, and the valleys have this hyper-rich oxygen atmosphere that need careful tending with these giant
trees.
Yeah. And it's just a unique environment. Of course, then the Arn who created them made the blue mist as an area to hide themselves from the Hork Bajir, which they think is the land of monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also engineered those creatures specifically to keep the Hork Bajir out.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's so like it's so interesting. I wonder what the entire story is for the Arn. I feel like this freaking series can go on because you can look into every freaking race of alien and find a different story.
Yeah,
so many Chronicles books.
Yeah. And I feel like people say Animorphs should be that they're trying to make an Animorphs movie. I think that's backwards. I think it'd work better as a TV series. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the technology we have today, it would be perfect.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I like about the Hork Bajir Chronicles is that it introduces Toby Hami, named after Tobias, and a new major character.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do like the fact that they have seers, which is just a Hork Bajir that's actually like smart and capable of learning and capable of understanding faster than other ones. Because the other Hork Bajir, they can learn. I feel like they just haven't been exposed to much, but they can learn. It's just like at a slower pace, and you have to use like basic words, kind of like a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
One of my theories as to why Tobias was able to understand the Hork Bajir telling this story, and that's the framing device, is because the elements is helping him to see. And why not? The Tobias has been interfered with by the elements, so I can see that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What else is there in the Hork Bajir Chronicles?
And there's this alien environment, but there's also like Esplin specifically has fallen in love with Andalites, and this sets the stage for the Andalite Chronicles because he really wants an Andalite host body.
Oh yeah,
the ultimate prize to take one. All their knowledge and everything.
right. I think that it surpassed love. It literally became an obsession, especially when he saw Aldrea and saw how she was able to really do so much, even though not immediately because she was an Andalite, but compared to other Andalites, he probably saw her as like a weaker version, because she's a girl and she's smaller. But I feel like that really did kick off his obsession with the race itself.
Yeah, he also this kind of raises a plot hole with the Andalite Chronicles in that we see when he captures Elfangor and Taxon Morph, he doesn't just take him over as a host right then and there because there's the fact that he did that with Aldrea here, but then you can't blame him for acting smarter here when he should in the Andalite Chronicles. It's not an issue of his host attacking him like it did here. He could literally call two Hork Bajir to restrain him. I mean, the Yeerks infest species, and he would learn why they're here and what they're doing. So, from a military perspective, I can't see his superiors being upset by that. You know what I mean? It's just kind of weird.
Oh, you mean okay? Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I kind of have a guess as to why he wouldn't, infest Elfangor. I think it's because he low key sees him as an equal in strength. Like, remember, this guy had him running all around the galaxy for him, and he finally caught him. And I feel like that would pose a real big threat when he's inside of his head. And Elfangor probably would have something up his sleeve for that exact moment. Because remember, they want willing hosts. They don't really necessarily want sports because it takes.
Yeah, I meant when Elfangor was on attacks on Homeworld, but
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but then again, maybe he was just afraid that his host would rebel and take him over. I mean, I didn't see any other Hork Bajir around, so maybe he didn't have any other subordinates he could call on or something. I don't know.
Right.
But I also like that's how Aldrea knows Esplin's story is the fact that he touched her mind briefly and just dumped everything because he was so excited.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 1 second, I have to go see if my daughter's okay.
Okay. So yeah. So yeah. What do you, anything else you got to think about Iron?
Let's see. Didn't you have a kind of a little bit of a problem with the romance?
I do, yeah, because it's more like a hate fuck couple.
Wait, did you say with romance?
With Aldrea and Dakami, yeah.
Oh, wait, what? Why?
I mean, they have a very toxic relationship. She's using him, and he just sees her as a library with legs.
I feel like that's an aspect of their relationship. But I feel like, the thing is they come to understand each other. Like she even gave up her Andaliteness to be a Northwood in his race, like just to be with him. I feel like it may have started like that, but again, remember he was the one letting her know that, hey, you're not so different from yours, and you're not actually as good as you think that you are. In fact, there's a lot of rage and a lot of violence that you yourself is dealing with, and she in turn also helped him understand that sometimes violence is needed, like when they need to defend themselves. I feel
Yeah.
like in that sense, like it kind of morphed from being just from being a situation where they're just using each other.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like they stopped using each other in the and actually just became partners.
Oh, one other interesting thing about this book, outside that, is that we learn that Aldrea still has skinny prey instincts because she couldn't sleep. For sleep does not come easy to Andalites because they've been hunted for millions of years. That's also some great alien world building.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that was really interesting. And was it in that book when they were talking about? I'm sorry, I haven't done here. Okay, baby, please be quiet. Okay, and wasn't it in that book when they were talking about the what did they call it? The predecessor Andalites, where they kind of didn't have a neck or something like that, and they were like more streamlined looking, and they
I
were
know
like really. It wasn't that book, right?
it's not number 37, the weakness. No.
Oh, okay. Just trying to make sure. It was somewhere, but yeah, no, I get what you mean. They were prey animal though.
Okay, so any final thoughts on the Hork Bajir Chronicles?
I absolutely loved it because I just loved the Hork Bajir so much. Didn't we finish that like in a week or something, dude? When we read it together?
I think, yeah.
Like, because we not only we had the time, but it was just, I was just hooked into it. It was like, it made me think of the day when I read the second Darth Bane book back in 2016. When I was still going to school.
Yeah.
And how I finished that like in 5 days. It's just like, and I was looking forward to every day we would get on so we could continue the Hork Bajir stuff. Is that good?
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry.
All right.
Final thoughts on the Hork Bajir Chronicles.
Final thoughts. I feel like it was a really good insight into Hork Bajir, into their world and everything, and into Visser 3. It kind of explains his power hungriness, and that's really about it, though. That's about it for me. And I like the lore of Dalkami and Aldrea getting together. I would have never guessed that an Andalite would go with another race.
Yeah, I personally, I've seen the Paprina's reviews about this, and I don't specifically agree that the Chronicles need to be revealing books that open up the Animorphs universe and expose its dark secrets. I mean, it's okay if they do that, but I think the only qualification is that it has to be a prequel, and this is that in space, and it's a pretty good one. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. That's my thoughts on Hork Bajir Chronicle. I liked it. It worked, and it was some really cool insights.
Okay, so it seems like that's it.
Yeah, because I already gave my thoughts when you left for a bit. So.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to wrangle up my daughter.
Oh, no worries. My friend, a friend of mine when we hang, he always has his nieces in the background yelling and screaming, and he has to deal with them.
What's kids without yelling and screaming? Am I right?
Yep. Especially when me and Grandma went to a friend's birthday or the birthday party for friends' kids, and they were screaming and going crazy, especially after I ate all that sugar from the cake.
I'm just gonna say, I can't go do that to you. Yeah.
Okay, so this is pretty good. I'm looking forward to when we do the next one, number.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've recorded one, and hopefully I can get these up more often, as soon as they're recorded, because, due to personal problems, it's kind of been hard for me to get content out. Like, there was a time where it's like, these Animorphs recording sat for months before I was able to finally do some editing and get them online.
All right, well, okay, I'd love to do more of these. This is so fun. I've always had so much thoughts about Animorphs, and I have to wait because my sister has to catch up with the books herself.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So let us know what you think down in the comments below, and that'll be it.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed our little discussion for the David trilogy and the marching Hork Bajir Chronicles.
All right, we'll see you next time, guys. Have a great one.
All right. Peace out.